I would have proudly marched with you through the streets. I would have gladly stood shoulder to shoulder with you and protest what was without a doubt negligence, brutality, and, at best, a third-degree murder. It was sickening and heart-wrenching to watch the video. The entire nation was united in condemning George Floyd's death. And as I'm out the door to go and join with you to march, the protests turned to riots. History will take special note of this stitch in time. What we do today will have ramifications for years to come. George Floyd has lit the growing pile of tinder under the wooden American flagpole. Historical injustices inflamed and amplified by an educational system teaching grievance and victimhood, and a mainstream media preaching racism and division.
That is pure racism. And the president is cynically using that racism to appeal to his base,
adding immense pressure to the situation where the lockdowns, still advocated for by some, that have cost people their jobs and businesses long after the initial goal of flattening the curve had been achieved. George Floyd's death is the spark that sends this powder keg into literal flames, intentionally stoked by Black Lives Matter and Antifa, ideologically possessed by demons demanding destruction and anarchy. People bent on bringing about hell smash in the windows, loot, and burn down the businesses that took people years to create, build, and expand in an effort to be of service to the community. These businesses that provided jobs, income, and opportunity, all lost.
Today, we found Corboy Bala, who invested his life savings into opening this sports bar, cleaning up. While our camera was there, looters came back to try to steal his safe.
Right, trying to steal the safe!
I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna work so hard to get here. So hard.
The area is becoming uninvestable, leading to further despair and poverty in neighborhoods already doing poorly. I have never owned a gun. I have never wanted one. I desired to lock arms and protest with you. Sadly, it appears the next arms I will be holding is one I can fire with. With the Minneapolis mayor telling police to stand down from their post, enabling the rioters to tear apart the police station, apparently trying to cut the gas lines and blow it up entirely. How can one trust the local officials to protect citizens when circumstances appear inconvenient? With his city burning to the ground, the ineffectual mayor reminds, quote, protesters to wear masks and social distance. The dereliction of duty is astounding. It is my duty to protect my family. If I no longer have faith in my government and criminals are looting and attacking random local businesses, burning down low-income housing in the hood, shouldn't I be prepared in case they come after my house, my business, my family? If they want to kill Whitey.
Here's what some of the, quote, protesters were chanting last night in Minneapolis.
Shoot the white folks! Shoot the white folks!
So you're not going to see that clip on CNN.
Should I not be prepared? Oh, but perhaps the president will send in the army. That might protect me. The fact that enmity runs so deep in a subset of our citizens that we need military to reestablish some sense of precarious order, knowing that the next time some idiot screws up and behaves in an egregiously violent manner, we will be, once again, on pins and needles, expecting a repeat of military occupation. Welcome to the true police state. Perhaps it's superior to the vision Antifa has, with its roaming bands enforcing whatever version of the law they desire on that particular day. But as someone who values liberty as much as any red-blooded American, military rule is not something I'd welcome. The beauty of America is our First Amendment, our freedom of speech. It allows us to settle our differences peacefully through polite conversation, sometimes squawking or even yelling at one another, rather than with a club. Sadly, communication and free public discourse is already waning as leftists intentionally attempt to shut down any speech they find remotely problematic. I personally have been told that being proud of my country and calling it the land of freedom and opportunity only demonstrates my white privilege. That stating two-parent families yield superior results to single-parent households makes me a racist, and survived a cancellation attempt on my life. They could make a Marvel villain after me who stands up to the leftists, called the uncancelable. On a positive note, the fact that we are able to care so much about another's pride for his nation only demonstrates that we've run out of the physical problems that have preoccupied people until this very point of human history, such as providing enough calories to survive. Those intentionally stoking these riots by breaking windows and walking away or leaving stacks of bricks or gas cans or other objects in the vicinity where protesters will be with the intention of giving them ammunition to riot are perhaps the most culpable, as their actions are strategic and pre-planned. Likely Antifa and their Marxist counterparts, desiring to bring down a constitutional republic that has stood in the face of great adversity for almost 250 years. It's harder to withstand a subversive war from within that, like a cancer, tries to eat you away. That is Antifa. That is what Black Lives Matter has unfortunately become. The question is, what can the nation do to survive? In the long run, the university system and the neo-Marxist teachings must lose public funding. We are literally supplying the money to pay for the indoctrination of young people into the oppressor-oppressed narrative and mentality. The media chasing short-term financial gain by sensationalizing stories and trying to hang on to their ever-decreasing slice of the pie needs to end. It's a free market. The First Amendment protects their hateful utterances. But the fact that CNN headquarters in Atlanta were defaced and windows smashed with all the hateful rhetoric they spew is said by some to be a karmic retribution. I don't support the vandalism in the least, but for many, the irony is not lost. Going forward, equality of opportunity is a must, and the playing field should be leveled as much as possible. But how do you blame a business from not reinvesting in the neighborhood where it was burnt to the ground, or condemn a man with noble intentions desiring to open a charter school to provide a better education in an underserved community when the doors open in a different district? Everyone who participated in the riots should not only face a prison sentence, but more importantly, be forced to serve massive numbers of hours of community service in the areas they destroyed. Who can unite us? Who can mend this ever-growing rift in society? Would a man as great as Martin Luther King be able to bring us back together today? I'm not sure. As religion goes out of style, what was once the unifying language of Christianity and religion as a whole falls more and more on deaf ears. The pulpit from which King once gave his sermons lacks the respect and gravitas it once had.
We're not going to fight our white brethren with malice, nor are we going to fight them with any falsified stories, nor are we going to fight them with hatred, but we're going to fight them with love. When they hate us, we're going to absorb their hatred in love. When they speak against us, we're going to speak things of love toward them. We're not going to let their hatred turn us around, but we're going to love them on every side.
The idea of fighting with love, seen today as weakness. A new religious narrative develops of anti-racism, social justice, and cultural Marxism. This is now the defining purpose of many lives. The message of love and peace still holds true in the hearts and minds of many, but as the cancer of Antifa and neo-Marxism spreads not only in words, but the violent actions we see today, people become more preoccupied with immediate survival, and love and acceptance of our fellow man drops down our list of guiding values. My hope is that this senseless polarization and violence will cease, and we can remedy the broken bonds of our society. But for those who've intentionally and with malice tried to sever them, must be dealt with, and their underlying ideology destroyed. My prayers to the family of George Floyd and to those who've lost their businesses, their jobs, or their health, to the hateful rioters and mobs.